Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, it is a solo episode, and I am talking about parts work. You may have heard of this, you may not have heard of it, but it is a simple yet incredibly useful concept that I use in my coaching with all of my clients. It will completely change the way that you relate to yourself, to your body, and it's going to help you achieve everything that you want in life. And I know that's a big statement, but I absolutely believe it. So tune on in and let's talk about parts work. My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self-Love Ignited. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today we are talking about parts work. This is a concept that will literally change your life. It is going to change the way that you see yourself, the way that you relate to yourself. It is going to transform your inner critic. It is going to change everything. This is most definitely a cornerstone of the work that I do with my one-on-one clients. And when I learned about it back in 2017, when I was sort of, having my first introduction into the world of coaching, it was a huge thing for me. It was a really huge thing for me. So what I want to sort of talk about today is I just want to explain a little bit about what parts work is. And of course, I want to say there's, I'm sure, lots of different kinds. I am talking about it from my knowledge, what I know and how I use it and what I've seen. So I want to talk about what parts work is, talk about how it can impact you, and then talk about how you can start to incorporate some of this into your life right now to see some changes. So let's dive in. What is parts work? Parts work is based on the concept that every single one of us is made up of different parts. And, from all different places. So it's like there's a part of you that is responsible for remembering to drink enough water. There's a part of you that's responsible for, keeping you warm. There's a part of you that's responsible for, having fun and seeking out joy and making connections. And like all of these different things that you want and that you need, there is a part of you whose job it is to make it happen. And what happens is that if you've ever learned about, what is it called? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've ever heard about that, and it is, if you have not, I'm probably going to butcher it. Please excuse me. This is a very loose interpretation of it, but essentially it is if you picture a pyramid and there are different layers in the pyramid, and it is all about what you need, hierarchy of needs. The base layer is like safety. It is belonging. It is the things that you need to physically survive, right? Food, shelter, water, all that sort of stuff. And then there's like there's mental things on top and emotional things on top and intellectual things on top and all of these things. But the very, very, very base layer, the bottom, is your requirements for survival. And so these parts of you who are responsible for your survival, they are strong and they are bold and they override everything else in that hierarchy. If they are not met, nothing else matters. And this matters because when we are talking about self-love, when we are talking about body image, when we are talking about being visible in your business, when we are, please excuse the siren. I'm in London. There's a busy street outside. There's nothing I can do about it. When we are talking about these things that you want to work on, when we're talking about these things that you want to overcome, right? Like I've been really hating on myself. I have been really critical of myself. I want to stop doing it. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep sabotaging myself? All of these things that I'm sure you are quite familiar with. The reason that you are where you are, the reason that you are stuck, the reason that you are sabotaging is because there is a part of you who is protecting you. Part of that base layer of needs. And this is something that I believe that every single person needs. Every one of us needs love, safety, belonging, and happiness. Those are like our core needs. And if those things are not met, that's part of like the base layer. If those things are not met, nothing else matters. So when you're going to change something, I want to change the way I speak to myself. I want to be more kind to myself. I want to uplevel my mindset. I want to feel confident getting on camera. I want to feel confident speaking my voice. We quite often sabotage ourselves because in some way it threatens love, safety, belonging, or happiness. And this is not always a logical thing, right? This goes back to your beliefs. This goes back to programming that you got probably when you were a child. And this goes back to what we are told in the media every single day. But there is a part of you that is going, if you love yourself, you're going to be threatened, right? And a very tangible example of this is thinking that, if you feel good in your skin, if you are confident, if you are showing up in the world differently, then perhaps relationships, whether it be with friends, maybe siblings, other family members, maybe in those relationships up until now, you have bonded over your collective hatred of your bodies. Maybe you have bonded over criticizing yourself or, pinching your cellulite and going, oh, aren't I disgusting? Oh, I'm starting another diet on Monday. Do you want to diet with me? Right? Like that is how you have bonded. That is how you've connected. And unfortunately, that level of bonding and connecting is really common. It is really, really, really common. It happens a lot. And if you are in a place where within yourself, you're going, I want to change that. I want to feel comfortable in my body. I want to be kind to myself. I want to be compassionate when I look in the mirror. I want to feel great in my clothes. I want to change this. If you are at that place, you will sabotage yourself quite often, because changing how you relate to yourself can change how you relate to your family, your friends, which is going to threaten your sense of belonging. It is going to threaten your love. It is going to threaten your happiness, because these core relationships have been based on self-hatred. I hope that you can see that. I hope that I'm painting the picture well enough with this, because, understanding that this part of you is just trying to keep you safe. It's like, oh my goodness, if we love ourselves, we're not going to belong anymore. We're not going to have a family. We're not going to have our tribe. We're not going to have our people. And if we don't belong, we have no purpose and we have no connection, and we have to belong. And belonging is more important than love. Belonging is more important than happiness. Belonging is more important than being kind. And when you can get that perspective, and the picture I've painted is kind of a simple one. Of course, there are a million variations of this, and sometimes it is obvious, and sometimes it takes a little bit of digging to get to the bottom of it to understand. But when you can see that this part of you that has been sabotaging, this part of you that has been hating on yourself, this part of you that has been hypercritical, is just desperately trying to keep you safe, when it is just desperately trying to make sure that you're okay and that your base needs are met and that you are not abandoned and alone in the world and that you belong, when you can see that that is its intention, it is so easy to be so grateful for it. It is so easy to have compassion for yourself. Like, oh my goodness, the part of me that is responsible for keeping me safe, the part of me that is trying so hard to keep me in a place where I belong, like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then from that place of gratitude, then we can have this conversation. And this is something that I often facilitate in one-on-one sessions, where we sort of converse with that part and go, I'm so grateful for what you've been doing. I'm so grateful that you've been trying to keep me safe. And you know what? I'm ready to try something new. I want to be safe, but I want to try it in a new way. So let's do it together. And you become allies with that part of you. You work with that part to keep you safe, to keep you in a place of belonging, and to allow yourself to grow. It's not either or, it's both and. And when you can understand this part of you, when you can understand what this part wants, when you can appreciate the beautiful intention behind it, then working with it and changing it gets to be like a beautiful co-creation. One thing, and this work is incredibly useful for many reasons, but one thing that I've had countless clients say in sessions, is they come to a session and they say, there's this part of me that just keeps sabotaging. There is this part of me that is a bully, that is calling me names. There's this part of me that is just a bitch. I've had people call their inner critic, my inner bitch. And I hate this part of me and I want to rip it out. I want to rip this part out. I want her to die. I don't want this to be a part of who I am. And that is a very harsh way to think, but also it is a rejection of part of you. It is a rejection of self. And you cannot create a loving, kind, compassionate, beautiful relationship with yourself. You cannot create a calm, happy inner ecosystem from a place of hatred, from a place of disconnect. The only way that you can have a happy inner world is to tend it with love, to see these parts of you. So when we do this work, so if I have these clients, when I have had these clients who've come to me and said, I hate this part of me, I want to rip it out, I want her to die. And we do this work and we see that part is just desperately trying for safety, trying to, keep love intact, trying to make sure that you belong, trying to, desperately trying to do this thing that has a beautiful, kind, loving intention. It is very common for people to cry in those sessions because this part of you that you have been hating and rejecting, suddenly it is so easy to love. And I know some people would refer to this as shadow work, right? There's lots of different terms for it, seeing the side of you that you don't like and embracing it and learning to love it. But, doing parts work, seeing these parts, learning to love these parts, learning to appreciate these parts is going to forever transform the way that you see yourself. Because this is a journey, I've said it a million times and I will say it a million more. The journey of self-love is a journey home to yourself. And it is essentially just talking about you're in a relationship, right? And we are in this relationship forever. There's no end point. As long as you're alive on this planet, in the body you've got, you're going to be in this relationship. It's going to be evolving and growing. And when you can get to this place where you can really, truly appreciate all these parts of you, when you have this tool, and once you have done it a few times with guidance, with a mentor, with a coach, once I've helped clients work through this process, it is something that you can begin to intuitively tap into, right? It's a tool that you can just use yourself. That's a really, really important part of the process. So that in a year, 5 years, 10 years, when things happen, because it's a relationship, it's always evolving. When something happens and you find yourself going, oh, this part of me that is just being mean, or this part of me that is sabotaging or not letting me reach my goals. I'm so angry. I'm so frustrated. Why the hell is it keeping me stuck? You suddenly can go, wait a second, hold on, let's tune in. You can do the reflection, figure out what that part of you is trying to achieve. Drown that part of you in love. Just absolutely appreciate the crap out of it. Accept it, love it, and work with it. You are uniting all parts of you. And there is so much strength and power in that. And that is quite honestly a big part of the foundation of a lifelong, loving relationship with yourself. And again, I also want to say too, that this work is useful in all different areas of life. So today I talked about, body image. I hate this part of me, or this part of me is, being really critical, or whatever it happens to be. But if you have a business and you are holding yourself back and not doing the things that you know that you need to do to build your business, maybe you're not getting on video, maybe you are not creating trainings, or you're not promoting your offers, whatever it happens to be. And you're like, oh, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just do this? I want to build my business. There's a part of you that has an intention underneath, and it is a positive intention. And you find it and you work with it, and then you can build your business. Same thing with career growth, same thing with finances, same thing with health and wellness, right? If I want to be healthy, I want to work out 5 days a week, I want to change the way that I eat. And I keep sabotaging myself and I keep going back and eating like whole buckets of ice cream, and I'm not exercising. Why? What is the threat? What part of you is feeling threatened? What part of you is looking after you? And how can you unite and work with that part? So parts work is, of course, in the context of what I do and what this podcast is all about. Of course, I talked about self-love, relationship with self-body image. But the core concept of this is transferable everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And I also really want to offer, this podcast is coming out the first week of April. It's going to be released. I'm recording it April 4th, and it is going to be released April 5th. This is my birthday week. And I have an amazing offer for you this week. So if you are listening to this podcast when it is coming out live, you can take advantage of this. This is only available for this week. Of course, this offer, the offer itself exists, just the discount does not into the future. But for this week only, I am offering a 35% discount on my 1 month one-on-one coaching packages. And it's because I'm turning 35, which I have lots of other feelings about, but we can talk about that at some other time. And this package is for you. So it is 3 sessions. We do it over the course of about a month, and it is all about you. So it is bespoke. It is fully customized to you. And we can talk about self-love. We talk about body image. We talk about whatever part of you is sabotaging you, right? Whether it's visibility in your business, whether it is your dream career, whether it is your health and wellness, lack of self-care, maybe your inner critic is just like overpowering you, whatever it happens to be. That is exactly what we focus on in this package. So if that is something that you are curious about, I am going to make sure that there is a link to find out more in the show notes if you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram, link in my bio. Facebook, I will also drop I'll drop the link in the description of the video and YouTube as well. So I really just want to put that out there. Parts work is an incredibly powerful thing to do. It is something that I do with almost every single client. In fact, it might actually be every single client I've ever worked with. We do some variation of this, sometimes on repeat, because different parts do different things. And sometimes it can take a few times before we can sort of like unite all these different parts of you. But please just know that once you understand these parts, the part that is critical, the part that is sabotaging, the part that is maybe mean on the surface, the part that you may have labeled your inner bitch, the part that is keeping you from getting on video, the part that is judging you harshly. When you can look at that part, understand that part, accept it, and love it, you are going to be so much stronger. You are uniting all parts of you. That is the ultimate place of feeling empowered and free and balanced, and anything is possible from that place. Anything is possible. So if you are interested in finding out more about working with me one-on-one, please click through the link in the show notes. Otherwise, I hope that you have an amazing day, and please take this concept and apply it to your life. Do the work. Your life will be better in every single way. I promise you. I promise you. Okay, that's it for me today. Have an amazing one. I will see you very soon. Mwah. Lots of love.